We hear a lot about the golden years, don't we? The time to relax, travel, enjoy hobbies, finally have some peace and quiet. And yes, there's definitely truth to that picture. But let's be honest for a moment. Getting older isn't just sunshine and roses. There are parts of it, tough parts, that people just don't talk about out loud. It's like there's an unwritten rule to always put on a brave face, to never admit the moments of struggle or fear or plain old difficulty. It can make you feel quite alone, can't it? Like maybe you're the only one feeling this way? What if I told you that many of the things you might be feeling, the anxieties, the frustrations, the quiet moments of sadness or worry, are more common than you think? What if I told you there are some harsh truths about getting older that, while difficult to hear, are actually important to acknowledge, not to be gloomy, but because understanding them, bringing them into the light, is the first step towards navigating them, towards finding peace and even joy despite them. In this video, we're going to gently pull back the curtain on 5 of these unspoken realities. It might feel uncomfortable at times, but my hope is that, by the end, you'll feel less alone, more understood, and perhaps even a little more prepared for the road ahead. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Let's start with the first truth, one that often catches us by surprise, even though logically we know it's coming. It's the reality that your body is changing. And sometimes, despite your best efforts, it just doesn't work like it used to. We talk about staying active, eating well, and yes, all of that helps tremendously. It really does. But the harsh truth is, physical decline is inevitable. And sometimes, it feels like it happens overnight. One day you're walking upstairs without a second thought. The next, your knees ache just looking at them. You might wake up with a new creak or stiffness that wasn't there yesterday. Maybe you find yourself getting tired more easily, or recovering from a simple cold takes weeks instead of days. This isn't just about major health issues, although those can certainly arrive uninvited. It's often the small things, the cumulative effect of years lived. Your balance might not be as steady as it was, making you think twice before stepping off a curb. Your grip strength might lessen, making opening jars a little more of a challenge. You might find yourself needing glasses for reading, then bifocals, then trifocals. Your hearing might fade just enough that following conversations in a noisy room becomes a struggle, leading you to withdraw slightly without even realizing it. The harshness here isn't just the physical limitation itself, but the emotional impact. You might feel frustrated with your body, maybe even angry that it's letting you down. You might feel a sense of loss for the physical freedom you once had, the ability to just do things without thinking about them. It can be a blow to your identity, especially if you were always an active person. It's a constant, gentle reminder that time is marching on. And it's a truth that's often met with platitudes like, "You're only as old as you feel." While the sentiment is kind, it doesn't always ring true when your body is telling a different story. Aches and pains aren't just in your head. And acknowledging them, feeling the frustration, is perfectly valid. It's hard when you've always been independent, always capable, to suddenly find yourself needing a little help, or having to modify activities you once loved. Maybe gardening now requires knee pads and more breaks, or your golf swing isn't quite as powerful. Perhaps simple tasks around the house become monumental efforts. It's a process of adaptation. Yes, but the initial realization, the moment you truly grasp that your physical abilities have a new baseline, can be quite stark. It's okay to mourn the loss of some of that physical vigor. It's a real part of the journey, and pretending it's not happening doesn't make it any easier to live with. Accepting it, however difficult that word accept can be in this context, is about finding new ways to move, new ways to stay active that honor where your body is now, not where it used to be. It's about listening to your body, not fighting against it, and finding strength in different forms. Maybe not lifting heavy weights, but the strength of resilience, of finding joy in modified activities. Now, while our bodies are changing, something else is often happening in parallel, something perhaps even more difficult to talk about because it touches on our sense of self and belonging. This is the second harsh truth: society might start to treat you differently, and you might begin to feel invisible. It's a strange phenomenon. One minute you're a vital, contributing member of the workforce or the community, busy with kids, careers, responsibilities, and the next, it feels like you've been subtly shifted to the sidelines. Maybe you notice that younger people talk past you, addressing your adult children or a younger companion instead of you directly. Even when you ask the question, you might feel patronized, spoken to slowly as if you don't understand, or dismissed in conversations about current events or technology. Sometimes it's well-meaning, that sweetie or dear from a stranger that feels less like affection and more like being infantilized. Other times, it feels like a complete lack of acknowledgement, like you simply fade into the background of a busy street or a crowded room. Think about the media we consume. How often do you see older people represented in dynamic, leading roles that aren't about being frail or quirky or solely focused on their age? Marketing often targets younger demographics, and while that's understandable from a business perspective, it contributes to a feeling that once you reach a certain age, you're no longer the primary focus, no longer the ideal customer, no longer the trendsetter. This feeling of invisibility isn't just about being seen. It's about being heard and valued. Your lifetime of experience, your accumulated wisdom, your perspectives shaped by decades of living, can feel suddenly less relevant to a world that seems obsessed with the new and the next. You might find that your opinions aren't sought as often, that your stories, while rich with history, are listened to with polite impatience rather than genuine interest. It can be isolating, making you question your own value and place in the world. It's a harsh truth, because it chips away at your sense of significance. You've spent a lifetime building, contributing, caring, and suddenly the world seems to imply that your most relevant days are behind you. It's not that you necessarily want to be the center of attention, but you do want to feel acknowledged, respected, and seen as a whole person with ongoing thoughts, feelings, and contributions to make. The feeling of being overlooked, of becoming part of the background noise, is a quiet sorrow that many experience but few admit to. It's like you've been put on a shelf, deemed less interesting or less capable simply because of the number of years you've lived. Navigating this requires a strong sense of self-worth that doesn't rely on external validation, which is easier said than done when the external world seems determined to ignore you. It means finding ways to assert your presence, to share your voice, and to connect with others who do see and value you. It's a quiet battle against a subtle societal shift, and it's one that many older adults face daily. Now that we've discussed the physical changes and that unsettling feeling of becoming invisible, let's move on to another truth that deepens as the years go by. This is the reality that loss becomes a more frequent and more profound companion. It's something we all face throughout life, of course. But in later years, the pace seems to quicken, and the nature of the loss can feel particularly sharp. We lose friends, people we've known for decades, shared countless memories with, laughed with, cried with. Their absence leaves a palpable void, a silence in places where there used to be conversation and laughter. Each loss is a reminder of our own mortality. Yes, but more than that, it's the tearing of a thread in the fabric of our lives, a thread woven with shared history and understanding. It can be incredibly lonely to lose the people who knew you when, the ones who remember the stories the same way you do. But it's not just friends. Sometimes it's a spouse, a partner of many years, and that loss is monumental, reshaping every single aspect of daily life. The quiet of an empty house, the missing presence at the dinner table, the absence of the person who knew you most intimately. It's a grief that runs incredibly deep and takes a long, long time to navigate. Family members pass away, siblings, cousins, people who are part of your foundational history. And the losses aren't always people. We can lose our independence, as we discussed with physical changes, which means losing the ability to drive, or to live alone without help. We might have to sell a beloved home filled with memories because it's no longer practical. We might lose a cherished pet, a source of unconditional love and comfort. We might lose roles that defined us for years, like our professional identity after retirement, or the active parent role as children become fully independent adults. The harsh truth here is the cumulative weight of all this loss. It's not just one event. It's an ongoing process, a steady stream of goodbyes. It can feel like you're constantly saying goodbye, constantly adjusting to a world with fewer familiar faces and fewer familiar anchors. This constant confrontation with loss can lead to a quiet sadness, a sense of fragility, and sometimes a reluctance to form new deep connections because the pain of future loss feels too daunting. It takes immense courage to keep opening your heart when you know the potential for heartbreak is ever present. Acknowledging this constant presence of loss and allowing yourself to grieve each one fully is a necessary, though painful, part of living a long life. It's a testament to the love and connection you've experienced, but it is undoubtedly one of the most challenging truths of aging. Moving from the landscape of loss, let's touch upon something even more fundamental, something that quietly shifts our perspective in ways we might not anticipate. This is the fourth harsh truth: the future feels shorter, which changes how you view time and make decisions in unsettling ways. It's not about being morbid or dwelling on the end, but rather a subtle, internal realignment that occurs when you realize that, statistically speaking, there are fewer years ahead of you than there are behind you. When you're young, time stretches out endlessly. A decade seems like an eternity. Retirement is a hazy, distant concept. You make plans for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line without much hesitation. There's always later to do that thing, to visit that place, to mend that relationship. As you get older, that sense of infinite later begins to fade. The horizon feels closer. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can lead to a greater appreciation for the present, a realization that now is the time to do the things you've always wanted to do. But the harshness comes in the pressure it can create, the feeling that time is running out, and the stark reality that some dreams or plans might simply not be achievable anymore due to time constraints or other factors. It can make long-term planning feel less relevant. Why start a massive new project that might take years to complete? Why save for something far in the future? This shortened perspective can make it hard to motivate yourself for things that require sustained effort over long periods. It can also bring a sharper focus to regrets, the things you didn't do, the words you didn't say, because the window to address them feels smaller. It also fundamentally changes how you weigh risks. A risk you might have taken at 30 might feel reckless at 70, not just because of physical capability, but because you feel you have less time to recover from a setback or a failure. Every choice feels more significant because the potential consequences feel compressed into a shorter remaining timeline. This truth forces you to confront what truly matters. The trivial things you once worried about might seem utterly unimportant, while the deep connections and experiences become paramount. But the process of reaching that clarity can be unsettling. It's the quiet voice that reminds you that the clock isn't just ticking. Its pace feels faster now. It's a truth that encourages living in the moment. Yes, but the journey to fully embrace that can involve grappling with the finiteness of time in a way you never had to before. It's a perspective shift that is profound and sometimes uncomfortable. A constant, subtle recalibration of your place in the timeline of life. Finally, let's talk about the fifth harsh truth, one that is deeply personal and often very difficult to articulate. Your relationship with your body and mind will change in ways you didn't expect, leading to a sense of disconnection or even betrayal. We touched on physical decline, but this goes deeper. It's about the feeling of inhabiting your own skin, the reliability of your own thoughts and memories. Think about how you perceive yourself physically. The reflection in the mirror changes, of course, and that's something we see coming, even if we don't always like it. But it's also about how your body feels from the inside. Joints that used to move smoothly might grind or click. Muscles might feel weaker, less responsive. Sensations might change. Maybe your sense of taste or smell isn't as sharp, or touch feels different. You might experience chronic pain, a constant, unwelcome presence that changes your mood, your energy levels, and your ability to engage with the world. Then there are the cognitive changes. The occasional forgotten name or misplaced keys are normal at any age. But as you get older, these lapses can become more frequent, more noticeable, and frankly, more frightening. You might find it harder to concentrate, to learn new things quickly, or to retrieve information that used to be at your fingertips. Conversations might require more effort as you search for words or try to follow rapid-fire dialogue. The harshness lies in the feeling that your own body and mind, these fundamental tools you've relied on your entire life, are becoming less predictable, less reliable. It can feel like a betrayal. You've tried to take care of yourself, and yet, things are changing in ways you can't control. This can lead to anxiety, fear about the future, and a sense of losing control over your own existence. You might feel a growing distance between who you feel you are inside, often still feeling like a much younger person, and the physical or mental limitations you experience. It's a strange duality, feeling youthful in spirit while your body reminds you of your age. This internal dissonance can be isolating, making it hard to reconcile your self-perception with the reality of your changing capabilities. It's easy to feel frustrated, embarrassed, or even ashamed of these changes, especially the cognitive ones, because they challenge our sense of competence and independence. We live in a society that highly values speed, sharp memory, and physical prowess, and when these things naturally decline, it can feel like a personal failing rather than a normal part of the human life cycle. Acknowledging this changing relationship with yourself, allowing yourself to feel the frustration or fear without judgment, is crucial. It's about learning to be patient and compassionate with your own aging self, accepting the new reality of your body and mind not as enemies, but as companions on the later part of your journey, requiring different care and understanding than they once did. So, we've talked about the physical changes that arrive, often sooner or more dramatically than we expect. We've touched on that difficult feeling of becoming less visible in a world that seems to look past you. We've acknowledged the increasing presence of loss in our lives, the goodbyes that become more frequent. We've discussed the way the future horizon seems closer, shifting our perspective on time and priorities. And we've delved into the profound changes in our relationship with our own bodies and minds. The feeling that our internal landscape is shifting. These are not easy truths. They are, as the title suggests, harsh at times. They involve confronting vulnerability, acknowledging limitations, and navigating emotional landscapes that can be challenging and lonely. And if you've felt any of these things, if these realities have resonated with you, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. These are common experiences, shared by countless people as they move through the later chapters of life, even if they don't talk about them openly. But here is the surprising truth. The thing I wanted you to watch to the end for acknowledging these difficult realities isn't about giving up or succumbing to gloom. It's actually the opposite. It's about building resilience. It's about finding genuine peace. Not a fake happiness that ignores the hard stuff, but a deep-seated sense of well-being that comes from seeing things as they are and finding ways to live fully within that reality. Understanding these truths allows you to prepare, to adapt, and to focus on what truly matters. If physical changes are coming, how can you build strength and flexibility now within your current capabilities? How can you modify your environment to make life easier and safer? If feeling invisible is a risk, how can you actively seek out connections where you are seen and valued? How can you continue to share your stories and wisdom if loss is inevitable? How can you deepen your existing relationships and perhaps even find the courage to form new ones? How can you build a strong internal world that sustains you through grief if the future feels shorter? How can you make the most of the present moment? What are the things you absolutely want to do or say? Now, if your body and mind are changing, how can you cultivate patience and self-compassion? How can you learn new strategies to support your cognitive health? Or find new ways to move and be in your body that bring you joy? Not frustration. These truths aren't endpoints. They are guideposts. They point us towards focusing on connection, on purpose, on self-care, and on finding joy in the simple things. They remind us of the preciousness of time and the importance of living authentically. Living a long life is a privilege, and it comes with its unique set of challenges. But it also comes with wisdom, perspective, and the deep richness of accumulated experience. You have navigated so much already to get to this point, and you have the strength within you to navigate this too. Remember, small shifts in perspective, small acts of self-compassion, small efforts to stay connected or find meaning can make a significant difference to your health, your happiness, and your sense of fulfillment in these years. You are not defined by these harsh truths, but how you choose to acknowledge and live alongside them can shape the quality of your life profoundly. If any of this resonated with you, if you've experienced these feelings or truths, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Let's build a community where we can talk about the hard stuff, openly and honestly. Your perspective might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to feel less alone. If you found this video helpful, or if it gave you something to think about, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And consider subscribing if you'd like more content like this. Honest conversations about navigating life, health, and happiness as we get a little older. Thank you for spending this time with me. Live your best life at every age.